This video will show how to create the following two small C# programs. First, creating a new C# file in an empty directory, implementing it with a trivial program, printing the classical phrase "Hello World" to the screen. Then the Hello World program will be replaced with another program which receives input arguments from the command line and also receives keyboard input from the user. This video is part of at least one playlist showing how to do the above with different programming languages. There should be a link to that playlist in the description below. Prerequisites. You, the viewer of this video, are assumed to have some skills in at least some programming language. I will not explain basic concepts such as what is a variable, or what is an array, or what is a for loop. Even if you have never written source code with C#, you are assumed to be able to understand, for example, what this C# code below does. I am using Windows 10 and the developer command prompt for Visual Studio. I am now showing what .NET version I am using, and it is .NET 5, and the version of the C# compiler, CSC, is 3.11. The Windows command dir shows that I am starting with an empty directory. Now I create a new directory named C# with the Windows command md, and then navigate into it with cd. Then I start Visual Studio Code in that new empty directory. Then I create a new C# file, arguments_input.cs, in that new directory. The purpose of using static system.console is just to avoid having to write console before write or writeline or readline, which I soon will use in this file. I will implement the Hello World in an arbitrary named namespace and in a class named arguments and user input. The start method is as usual in C#, a static void main method with a string array as argument. The initial implementation will just print out Hello World to the screen from the main method. The program is then compiled with the C# compiler CSC by providing the name of the C# file as argument. The dir command shows that a new file has now been created with the same name as the C# file, but with an .exe suffix. As you can see, the program displays Hello World when it is executed. Now I will replace this Hello World implementation with a program that will receive and print out arguments provided from the command line, and the program will also ask the user for keyboard input and will then print out to the screen what the user typed. For this purpose, I have prepared some pseudocode, which I will paste into the program, but within comments, since it of course would not be possible to compile. First, I am replacing the for loop in the pseudocode with a C# for each loop. But an alternative would be to instead iterate over the array index with a for loop. The output statement in the pseudocode is replaced with a writeline method, and here I do not need to write console.writeline, thanks to the previous using static system.console at the top of the file. When creating the output string, I am using string interpolation introduced with C#6. An alternative, which also works for older C# versions, would be to concatenate the strings with the plus sign. Then I am replacing an output statement in a pseudocode with a C# write method, and now I am using write instead of writeline, since I want the input cursor to be at the same row when reading input with readline method, which does not have to be prefixed with console, thanks to the previously mentioned using static statement. Compiling as before with the C# compiler CSC. Now running the program as before, and it does not iterate any arguments since no arguments were provided. The program asks for your name as user input, and when I type a name it will be printed with prefix hello. Then I run the program again, and this time also provide some additional arguments. The program now iterates and prints those arguments, And then of course it also asks for the name as in the previous program execution.